Welcome to Subramani. At the outset, let me tell you that the Q&A format is not very popular. Not too many people watch it, and I don't get too much feedback about whether they liked it or whether they did not like it. So I will do it. I will do a very few of them, and if they're a little different from the others, and if there is some general gyan, otherwise I will not be too keen to be doing this. Occasionally I will do. Thank you. Now, coming to this mail by one Mr. Pai, I don't know where he is writing from. So he said, at the outset, let me thank you for your contribution towards increasing financial literacy, and I'm writing to you to know your thoughts and advice about my financial planning. I'm a 32-year-old professional working in the marketing domain with a take home of 1.7 lakhs per month. Before I mention other details, I must admit that while I used to save and invest pre-COVID, it wasn't serious or structured. The pandemic and the uncertainty that brought scared me, thankfully, to learn about financial planning and focus diligently on investing. Actually, Mr. Pai, what happens is 32 is the age when you also realize that you have crossed 30, right? It takes 2 years for that hangover to go away. So the thrill of being in your 20s is gone. So at 32 you would have done it, and the pandemic may have just hastened it. But anyway, 32 or 33 is a time when people wake up and take stock, because some classmates has a heart attack or has an accident or dies or something like this happens, and people wake up and say, oh my god, I am mortal and I need to do something about it. Or when there is a birth of a child, if the birth of the child is before the age of 32, then or 32, that is how it is. So you are just falling into that, and you think you're unique in the sense that the COVID pushed you. COVID was incidental, that it happened to you at the age of 32. If it had happened at the age of 23, you wouldn't have it wouldn't have had this kind of impact. It would have had some other kind of impact, but this impact was because you were perfectly there to receive the message from the universe. Wake up and do something. So good that you woke up and did something, because at 32 it's not too bad a stage to put a structure to investing and saving, which you have anyway been doing even earlier. Okay, so then he says, here are the pointers to what I have done in the past, and now I'm looking at investing now. So my main investments in the initial years of my career were equity mutual funds, and they gave me good returns, but I redeemed all of them for my wedding because I bore all the expenses, and towards the down payment of a flat which I made 4 years ago. In hindsight, I would not have purchased the flat, but I bought it because mine was a love marriage and my in-laws wanted a guy with a house of his own, although technically I know it belongs to the bank. Look, what I am saying in all my videos is, you want to buy a house, fine, buy a house, but follow the 3, 20, 30, 40 rule, right? Follow those rules, make a maximum down payment. And if you have taken a loan and right now you have equity assets which are bloated, sell off some equity and repay the loan, do all that. But anyway, if you have say 20 lakhs CTC and your loan is 40-50 lakhs, it is not going to be a killer. With these interest rates, you might as well stay on in equity, and hopefully equity will give you good returns. But then if you have if you're saying, oh, my 1 lakh rupee portfolio is suddenly worth 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs, I'm afraid, then fine, great time to be selling off that equity and repaying the debt. Play your own game. Very, very, very important that I'm just giving you the broad rules and contours. I'm not going to handhold you into saying do this and do that. If the love of your life is not going to be attained without buying a house, by all means buy it. Don't get stuck that, oh, I don't have 40% down payment. Make 25% down payment, make 30% down payment. But apply your mind. Don't buy the house just because somebody told you. You have a solid reason to buy a house. You got the love of your life, you had to buy. So perfectly all right. By all means you should buy. It's given out on rent, and after factoring in the tax saving, my net outgo is towards 9,000 per month. I don't think this tax saving bit makes any sense. But the myth is too much. I have done this saying the myth of tax saving in by real estate. It doesn't exist, so please don't talk about it. This 9k per month doesn't hurt me too much. I plan to accumulate money through equity and clear the loan in the next 6 to 7 years as lump sum and part repayments. I don't think you need to clear it in 6-7 years. You just let it continue. As long as you think that your equity returns are higher than the debt at which you are borrowed, the rate at which you have borrowed. If you are earning 11% on your equity and you are paying interest of 7%, there is absolutely no reason to repay the loan. Let it be there. Continue your EMI, but don't repay lump sum amounts. You don't need to. However, if you think some share which you have bought is bloated and you want to sell the share and you don't know what share to buy and you think you're going to be surplus with cash, pick up a couple of lakhs and repay. Pay 5 lakhs. That's perfectly all right. You don't have to pay a lump sum. Even if you have a 80 lakh loan, paying 5 lakhs makes sense. But don't repay just because you think there is a loan. No. Look at the return that you're getting on other assets. If you're getting a rate greater than what you're getting in a bank loan, what you're paying in a bank loan, then by all means continue the loan, right? So don't assume that in 6-7 years you should be able to repay. You need not repay. Makes no sense. In 2020, I cleared 2 car loans, mine and my parents' car. 5 years ahead of tenure may not have made sense because a lot of interest would have already been paid, as well as loan my dad had on his flat which they live in. This meant I utilized a large portion of what I had saved towards clearing these loans. That does not make sense. What you should have done is waited and in a boom repay loans. Till then, let the loans remain because your return in equity could be far better than the rate which you are paying in the home loans. So that you could have waited perhaps. Anyway, now I'm in a sense starting afresh. I have 15 lakhs in PF. I have 15 lakhs in mutual funds and direct equity. From my current income, I invest about 40k per month in equity plus BAF mutual funds and 30k in I invest 40k per month in equity plus BAF mutual funds, 30k in direct equity, and my PF is about 22k per month. And the rest goes towards meeting expenses including rent. My flat is in my native place and I live in a different city, and the home loan EMI. There is nothing, Mr. Pai, to show so far that you know how to invest in direct equity. So what gives you the confidence to invest in direct equities? Just a question, right? My wife works, but she believes in debt investments largely. So if your wife believes in debt investments, why are you in BAF? I mean, again a question. I'm not giving you an answer. And therefore I'm not mentioning my wife's investment details here. That's fine. My aim is to have a corpus of 1 crore in the next 16 years for my son's higher education. I have no clue how we have arrived at this fund of 1 crore. What will it cost for engineering at the end of 16 years? I don't know. I mean, you said higher education. What will it cost if it is medicine? What will it cost if it is education? Because if it is engineering, because 16 years means he's just 2 years old now. So if he's a 2-year-old, how do you know what is he going to study? How do you know that you require 1 crore? I don't know. Based on that, you have to rework that figure on a regular basis. But you will not be able to do it 10 years from till about 10 years from now, when there is some clarity as to what he is doing. He has to be at least 15, 16 by the time he knows he's going to take science or commerce and things like that. So I don't know how you arrived at this figure, so I will not comment about that. I want to retire from corporate at the age of 50 to start my own venture in my hometown, either a restaurant or a homestay. I have a term insurance of 2 crores and I don't know whether, since you have not mentioned your expenses, your wife is also earning, so maybe 2 crores is sufficient. It will take care of your you have not mentioned the total loan. You have said home loan EMI, but you have not said what is the total loan, but that's fine. I have adequate medical insurance for my wife, son and my parents. There are no immediate financial goals for 5 to 8 years. Could you please advise if I am going about my goals in the right manner? And also because my wife's income goes towards FD as mentioned. It does not make any sense for your wife to put into FD. She can put into debt mutual funds and postpone her income. What happens in a debt mutual fund growth option is she will pay tax only when she withdraws and not on a yearly basis like she will pay in a bank FD. So broadly 2-3 things. You have a home loan, that's fine. Let it continue for its whole tenure. Your wife should shift to mutual funds, maybe ultra short and short-term income fund, because you've got 8 years to go. And she should not be in bank fixed deposits because she's earning money as a salary on which she's paying tax. So maybe she's already in the 30% slab. doesn't make sense to pay tax on the bank interest. Having said that, most of the money in this country is lying there, so let me just shut up. Thank you.